A fighter trains with the best and wins with a KO. Kelly Orchard's podcast for successful badassery. Just as apples are a core ingredient to a healthy diet, Kelly Orchard's Apple a Day is a core ingredient to living a fruitfully badass life. Turn up your energy with Fruitful Friday. Here's Kelly Orchard.
Turn up your energy. It is Fruitful Friday. Can you believe we're halfway through July already? I know, it's crazy. Hi, Kelly Orchard here, badass certifier, broadcasting and podcasting from my badass office in Michelle's Place, Cancer Resource Center. Lots of interesting things happening. I gotta say, I just wanted to be happy on this Friday with you. It's a great day. I went to Texas and I was gone for a week. I've been talking about it, so if you're following the podcast and you're here with me, you know that I got back from Texas last week, but then, of course, I had already had those podcasts pre-recorded. So I shared with you on Wednesday about not being so badass at the airport. But, it all worked out okay. It gave me a good story to tell. I wanted to tell about tales from Texas when I returned, and how they, transpire or transition into some sort of a badass lesson. And the airport incident was one of them because I really had to pull it together. I had to be aware of how I was feeling about being booted from a plane trip that I had planned a month ago. Not very cool, but I got over it. And here we are. It's like I have another story to tell you today because I'm bookending my summer experiences. And so today I want to talk about that because, the second S in badass acronym is successfully badass or living successful badassery. And part of that is also, strategizing and planning ahead and kind of knowing what you might need at a certain time. And that is something that I have learned very well how to do. So I'm going to tell you about my upcoming trip that's already planned, and it was already planned before I went to Texas. July is Heart Lessons Month. It is Heart Lessons Month for me. I'm giving away my book absolutely free. All you got to do is click the link and download the actual book. But all this month in different podcasts, I've been kind of sharing some excerpts from my book, Heart Lessons, with you. This is the 15th anniversary of when I was struck down with heart failure, which is the event that derailed my entire life and career. However, it was the worst thing that ever happened to me. And why? I think because, well, first of all, I worked hard to survive. And once I survived it and worked through everything that was going on with me medically, I knew I wanted to help people. And that set me on the journey to going to grad school to becoming a licensed psychotherapist. And I often tell in all of my workshops, and had I known what the journey to becoming a licensed psychotherapist was before I started grad school, probably wouldn't have done it. So sometimes, hey, it's not such a bad idea to go into some things blindly. So July is Heart Lessons Month. It is the Successful Badassery. I do have Fresh Mustang Mondays for you now. Now that we're post-pandemic, I'm able to get people in the car. Earlier in the last few months, I've been sort of repurposing some Mustang Mondays that were already on my YouTube channel. So now you can catch up with them and they're brand new and fresh. It's like, we're talking about mental health and well-being in the workplace. While we're going back to work and people are getting busy again, the rules have changed, haven't they? And there's some challenges that are going to be ahead of you. So how about we pick up some new skills on how to cope with the way leadership is going to be going now and how to do some team building. It's like, you got to have that success mindset. So it's time to take charge of your mental health. So like I said, I'm giving away heart lessons for free. That's how I take charge of my mental health. I like to just kind of give stuff out. And this is what I do. The reason I do it in July is the month that I suffered from heart failure. In fact, it was over 4th of July weekend that it was occurring, and I ended up in the ER. So July is always I call it a cattywampus month for me because I'm always kind of trying to dodge whatever tragedy may come my way because it seems to be July. But I am in a success mindset and happy that you're here on this Fruitful Friday. You know, therapists and counselors are in short supply. And so I'm glad that you tune in because I am a licensed psychotherapist and I do have a busy practice. But I'm so honored to be able to do a podcast like this and be able to put out this kind of information and psychoeducation for you. So here's the first thing we're going to go over today. I'm certifying badasses one podcast at a time, remembering that the second A in badass stands for awareness. And I had to practice some of that awareness when I was at the airport which is that story, and that also includes being aware of your own heart and what it desires. And so awareness is really big for me. That's one of all of the letters in badass with the acronym are important to me. And I utilize tools that I've collected to create this badass program. And so today I want to share with you a little bit about lessons in patience. That's right, patience. What does it mean to suffer? The state, quality, or fact of being patient. The will or ability to wait or endure without complaint. Steadiness, endurance, or perseverance in performing a task. Patience is big. And the letter P is not in badass. So I use the letter S, steadfast. Steadfast is part of the definition of patience. Other words for patience: endurance, perseverance, forgiveness, and tolerance. So when I was in the midst of my heart crisis, patience was one of the lessons I had to learn. Patience is a lesson that I have to learn every single day. I know that in this area, all human beings fall short. We live in a society of instant gratification. The path of life has many stops and starts. I often find myself, remind myself and my clients that the journey is not linear. All right. There are seasons when we are moving forward, seasons when we're standing still, and seasons where we seem to be moving backward, no matter how hard we try to be moving forward. Whether it's your career path or your personal life, obstacles will get in the way, and patience is something that needs to be learned on a daily basis. Patience is one lesson that I seem to bump up against every minute of every day. Everything comes at us so fast. Fast food, fast cars, fast lanes on the freeway, faster processes on our computers, microwave ovens for faster cooking times, faster customer service at our favorite establishments, faster results in just about everything. My goodness. You might begin to question your purpose when your patience runs thin. Life is not a race, it's a marathon, so pace yourself. Be aware that anything worth achieving will take time, and there is no such thing as an overnight success. I say that all the time. I had to wait and be patient until my heart healed. And as you see, the wait was a long journey and many lessons that I learned along the way, patience being one of the most difficult. I couldn't control my heart rhythms any more than I could control my financial situation or how my family was reacting to my crisis. Did I ever lose my patience now? Of course I do. Like at the airport, right? As I said, patience is a lesson that must be learned, practiced, and learned again every day. But I manage it. I don't lose it in a sense that I allow it to affect my mood or how I treat others. And when I do lose it temporarily, I own it and I humble myself and I apologize. I've learned to take a breath, except that I have no control over certain things. And heck, if I can do anything about whatever it is that's creating the new mini crisis that tries my patience, I make a decision to just take a break, a day off. Don't fret about it for the moment. Just accept it and be willing to learn it daily. You are not alone in your impatience. Whatever is happening is going to take some time, and we don't always have control over it. Emotions will wane, and our expectations will need to be adjusted. We can't control other people, our illnesses, our circumstances, or often the end result. We must practice patience with all of these, and mostly be patient with ourselves. I've always known this song by the Byrds, by the way, as I grew up in radio, and music has always been such a huge part of my personal tapestry. I've provided Bible passages throughout my entire book of heart lessons that have harnessed the message of one's heart that provides both literary and metaphorical message. So I chose to include some lyrics in my book of Turn, Turn, Turn for patience for two reasons. The message is still the same, literally and metaphorically, whether you put the words to music or have read them out of the Bible itself. It's just this simple Ecclesiastes chapter 3. But the Byrds adapted it for a song, and the music was written by Pete Seeger. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season. Turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season. Turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven. All right, in my book, you can read the rest of the lyrics. They're in the chapter of Lessons in Patience. But, learning and relearning patience is going to fall into your path all of your life. It's one of the lessons that we never stop having to learn. So here I've got some tips for you for practicing patience. Remember to take a deep breath. Just be patient and don't give up. Whatever it is that you're going through, allow it to run its course. There is a time for everything. Take a breath, walk away, close your eyes, count to 10. Tip number 2, change your activity. When you're ruminating about how difficult it is to wait, focus on whatever activity you are doing and maybe even change it up a little bit. Also, change your perspective, accepting that some things just need more time, and we often need to readjust our expectations, quite possibly due to circumstances beyond our control. And then release control. Remember that you don't hold all the power of all the universe. Release the control of some things and allow yourself to be present in that moment instead of fighting against the inevitable. All right, now let me tell you about my next trip planned. All right, so I'm doing this as a kind of a bookend, and it occurred just before I left to go to Texas. I was at a social function, and I mentioned to a friend of mine, a very close friend of mine, that my birthday is at the end of September, and although it's not necessarily a special occasion birthday, it's just any old random number birthday. It gives me a good justifiable excuse, and the weather will be perfect for another trip to Sedona. So she didn't even hesitate. She goes, I want to go. So we did make arrangements, and there are 4 of us that are planning to go to Sedona the first weekend of October. And why am I bringing this up to you? Because it is really important for you to plan things to look forward to. It doesn't always have to be big, huge, and expensive trips, but even little activities that you can look forward to in the future. And whether you're saving for it or you're looking forward to seeing some friends, that's really critical to living a successfully badass life. So even though you may have some stresses going on, and even though you're struggling with one thing or another, and your patience is running thin, when that kind of stuff is going on, that's when okay, I'm going to get on the borderline of burnout here, and my mindset's not right, so I need to recharge, or I need something to look forward to that's going to help me recharge. And so when I mentioned it to my one friend, and then it kind of cascaded into, well, let's just make it a small group of us so it doesn't get overwhelming, just 3 or 4. And so that's exactly what we have, 4 of us who all could make the arrangement. I mean, come on, it's months in advance we're doing this. So it's not like we're trying to stir it up overnight. We're planning it well in advance. So it's not going to financially hurt any of us, and we've already put it on our calendars. In fact, we already took care of securing the space that we're going to be staying at in an Airbnb. Friends, small and cozy, do a little hiking, maybe a little spa treatments, have some good food and wine and conversation. And so it's just as fall approaches. And for me, That sounds perfect just after coming off of a trip where I had a lot of activity and fun with my grandchildren. So this is how I live a successfully badass life. I'm not doing anything differently. I'm not any different than you are. I just have some tools in my toolbox and I use them. And I'm giving you the tools and encouraging you to use them and how to use them and create your own badass life. You're not living my life. I'm not living your life. I'm just giving you examples of how I am navigating and maintaining balance and maintaining a positive attitude, because your attitude does determine your success. So I'm really looking forward to doing this. And really, it's important for you to plan ahead too, to create things to look forward to. And it doesn't always have to be all about you, but a good portion about you so that you can reduce the idea of resentment and regrets and make some memories. See, I'm looking forward to going with my friends. However, I told them, yes, I've been to Sedona 3 times. Every time has been completely different for me. I'm not going with the intent that I'm showing you around, but I'm happy to show you what I have discovered that I enjoyed. If you want to make arrangements, great, let's make arrangements. If not, my feelings won't be hurt, and I will make my own arrangements for what I want to do. So I want you to see how I'm taking control of my own happiness and my own experience, while I'm also freely sharing with my friends, and we're all working on having a good experience together. I'm not making it all about me. It's not about my ego. So I want to ask you this. So even when the world around you may feel as though it's falling apart, how can you enjoy yourself? What is opening up for you through the cracks? It's just a season. It will change. Will you be prepared by doing some work right now? Or are you going to be shocked and dismayed when things don't turn out how you prefer them to? It's all about choices. And that's the D in badass. Decide. All right, I want to tell you a little story. Like I said, I'm bookending some things, and I definitely have an apple and some, weekend vibes for you. In fact, this is my weekend vibe. I want you to kind of imagine this. I love this story Zig Ziglar tells about a Chinese bamboo tree. When this particular seed is planted, watered, and nurtured for years, it doesn't appear outwardly to grow as much as an inch. Nothing happens the first year. There's no sign of growth, not even a hint. The same thing happens, or doesn't happen, the second year, and then the third year. The tree is carefully watered and fertilized each year, but nothing shows. No growth, no anything. So it goes as the sun, and sets for 4 solid years. Okay, it just the sun rises and then it sets. 4 years go by and nothing happens to the Chinese bamboo tree. The story goes that the farmer and his wife have nothing tangible to show for his labor and effort for 4 whole years. Then it comes along year number 5. After 5 years of fertilizing and watering have passed, with nothing to show for it, the bamboo tree suddenly sprouts and grows 8 feet in 6 weeks. Did the little tree lie dormant for 4 years only to grow exponentially in the 5th? Or was the little tree growing underground, developing a root system strong enough to support its potential for outward growth in the 5th year and beyond? The answer is, of course, obvious. Had the tree not developed a strong, unseen foundation, it could not have sustained life as it grew. I want to give you some foundation, and I want to see you grow. So let's do this, all right? So here's some apples of wisdom for you. I want you to say yes to adventure, just like I am. According to the dictionary, an adventure is an unusual and exciting, typically hazardous experience or activity. So you could say that an adventure just walking out to your car and driving down the road then, right? So that's the point. Every day should be considered an adventure. I remember breaking down on the highway after a long, adventurous trip to the Colorado River for some boating fun the 4th of July weekend one summer. As we unhitched the boat from the back of the vehicle, so that we could change the tire, the holiday traffic whizzed by us at a dangerous speed. Now, that was truly an adventure for me. I also spent time with my kids going grocery shopping and making a game of dividing the list into sections and sending them out to hunt down the items. It wasn't a hazardous activity, but it was certainly turned into an adventure for the kids. Every day can be an adventure if you say yes to it. So, some weekend vibes. It's a Friday in July. What do you got going on? You going to go listen to some music somewhere? Things are opening up. You can go to the beach. You can go to the mountains. You could take a drive somewhere, or you could just stay nice and cool in your comfortable home. But while you're at it, I want to encourage you to work on that badass soundtrack. Do some things that are good for you. Read a book. Download something that's wonderful. Hey, catch up on the podcasts that you've been missing out on. Do some self-care. So today's podcast, let me be the light that guides you out of this darkness. That's my strategy, my vision. I want I want to guide you out of the dark. I've been in this dark tunnel before myself. When I lost my health, my work, my finances, my house, all at the same time, I was alone and still raising teenagers. I fought my way back, and it wasn't easy to begin, but I tell you, staying the course despite the obstacles and the setbacks is what made all the difference. So now I want to help you. The tools that you've acquired during these programs, these podcasts, are going to help develop a strong foundation for you to build and grow upon. So let's create some new habits for success. Remember, growth isn't about numbers. Our purpose is to grow, like cells' purpose is to grow. The tasks and jobs are varied and changeable, the cells in your body. Your growth will not look like anybody else's growth. It's uniquely your own. Just like a tree has its own pattern of growth, or any plant or living creature, you are unique in your own growth. Awaken your mind to go in a new direction of growth, just like the Japanese bonsai tree. You can prune your life to branch out in ways that will consist of perpetual emotional, intellectual, and spiritual growth. Your personal life will improve, and so will your professional life. We aren't slaves to our brain or our unhelpful thinking. Think of a car as a brain. It has certain functions. The driver is the mind. It controls the vehicle. So when you change your mind, you change your direction. My License to Be Badass program is designed to cause you to practice self-reflection and create a sense of self-awareness and emotional and social intelligence. I want to help you continue on this badass journey by inviting you to join, because it's not like any other coaching program. Why? It's not cookie cutter. I created it myself with you in mind, a badass who knows it and could use some new tools in their toolbox to navigate these waters therapeutically. Digging in to rediscover who you are, why you're badass, and how to maintain a positive mindset to live a successfully badass life. Now listen, July is Heart Lessons Month. Click the link in the download, get your free copy, and Bobby's got something else for you as well. Have a great Friday. Kelly Orchard, the Badass Certifier, over and out.
When the bus arrives at Badassville, you discover it's not a place, it's a state of being. Hop on the bus to Badassville. Snag your Badass Habits ebook. Get started on your badass journey. Go to licensedtobebadass.com.